Hey, if you're watching the broadcast, welcome to Glue Wednesday. And if you're watching us live, welcome to Glue Wednesday. I always get on at least 3 to 5 minutes before the broadcast starts because I like to do what Facebook calls building the audience. Now, there's a couple of schools of thoughts on that. Some people say you shouldn't get on until you're ready to start your broadcast. And this is one of the decisions that you have to make when you decide to do Facebook Live or any kind of broadcast. But the reason I do it that way is because you may get an announcement saying that I'm on live. And then you may say, oh, that's right, Sporty's online. Oh, no, I need to finish this. Now, if I waited to get live when I started the broadcast, you're going to miss, what, 3 to 5 minutes? It depends on how you close out. So I think if I come on early and then you get that little, oh, my God, I got to get it. Now, by the time you get rid of that thing that you had to do, you'll be on time for when today's message starts. So that's why I do it. It's personal choice. And one of the things you want to do when you are a speaker, but more importantly, as our topic today talks about, when you are taking a risk, when you're being who you are, then you have to do things your way. And so that's going to come into it. And then one thing you know for sure, if you have been on any of my broadcasts, is that I don't necessarily worry about the synchronicity of the message because I believe that everything connects. And I'll make it connect, okay? So we've got less than 3 minutes for today's message. And if you see me looking over to my left, your right every now and then, it's because I have my other computer up with, so I can see it live because I'm using the technology called StreamYard. And there's a time delay of I don't know how many seconds from what I'm saying here on the screen versus what you may type in the thread. So that way I can just check every now and then and see if there's a comment that I can slow down and make a point with. The reason I do that, again, tip for you if you're doing a broadcast. So often, in fact, what used to happen, here's why I did that. What used to happen when I used StreamYard, when it's over, I may see the comments. And I don't necessarily know what they were when somebody says, that's a good point. I hear you. I don't know what comment they were talking about. So that's why I do this now, where I can actually look and see real time when that comment is being addressed. And maybe I want to stop and rest right there for a second. We've got less than 2 minutes for today's message. Maybe I want to stop right there and rest for a second and make a point. Hey, what's up, Dirk? Dirk Smart, good to see you. Dirk, I've only been over to your page a couple of times. Dirk is a DJ, Caribbean music. I see he's on there because he gave me a thumbs up. But DIRK, Dirk Smart. Check his page out, and he's a DJ. Great action. Okay, and then I also come on so that I can do this. I can do those shout outs to Dirk and then to my homegirl, Pat Jackson. What's up, Pat? What's up, my homegirl? Good to see you. All right. And talk to me, man. You got it. That's what I'm going to do. Hey, that's back in New York. Less than a minute for today's message. And then here comes Karen Richards. Good to see you, Karen. One of my spiritual home girls from Washington, D.C. See, so that's, again, why I try to come on early, get my shout outs. I'm still going to end up talking to these people anyway because I have no self-control sometimes. But I like to get that shout out to them just to say hello. But when there's some good points that we can just, again, put a pin in and stay there for a moment, then these are the people who I'm going to come to. And so you can still do that even if you're watching the broadcast, because I'll still come back and try to catch some of the comments. What's up, Annette? My barber. Yep. See, so now we got New York, Washington, and Charlotte in the house. Cool. All right. And then Dirk was I don't know where Dirk lives. He might live in Virginia, but I know I met him through the Navy. All right. What's up, Annette? I'm going to see you sooner or later. And what you say, I log on to catch up in your live. Isn't that the way it goes? Sometimes you log on to catch up and the person is live. And that's great. And it's not because we're running late, by the way. It's just that, sometimes we get lost in our time and we think that we're behind. Ladies and gentlemen, so many times you're actually more ahead of the game than you think you are. And that's why one of the things we're going to talk about today is risk. And I put in the question mark, do you take risk? What type of risk do you take? Are we talking about risk? Actually, let me fill you in a secret. I'm using risk today to actually fill in one of my programs that I have is, as it turns out, is that I have what I call the 5 fundamental F's that I think that these are necessary for you enjoying life. And of course, as I always talk to people about controlling your vocabulary rather than allowing your vocabulary to control you, my F's are not negative. All of my F's are positive. See, I think the letter F gets a bad rap. It's usually associated with failure. So I'm going to say to you that my F's are all positive: focus, faith, fun, friends, and freedom. Let me see if I need to do a shout out here. And I just go into some attendance. Okay, serendipity. There you go. Right, because we never know when we're going to reconnect. A sporty booth. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I need my Karen booth. And then the sporty family. Roger Carroll, one of my regulars. So that's another R. And I love alliteration. Roger Carroll, regular. All right. And see, that's the thing we established. We can use, there's another one of my regulars, Jose, and that's how I call him Haas. That's one of my homeboys. We have to learn to use technology, older generation. This is where we are. So let's make those connections and make those family members that we can be of like mind. And that's the serendipity also that Karen is talking about. So back to the 5 fundamental F's, because even though I have risk as the topic, let me show you where that works in. See, as it turns out, with my 5 fundamental F's, focus, faith, fun, friends, and freedom, the last F is free. And I say freedom, but I use free. And then I break down each letter in free. And risk, I got to spoiler alert, risk is the second letter. That's the R. But let me give you the first letter, which is the F, and that's for facts. If to enjoy life, you need the facts. And that's why the F, because that's why I always say the truth shall set you free. Choose your messengers carefully. You've always heard me say that. Choose your messengers carefully and recognize that you're carefully being chosen as a messenger, because you need facts to really be free so that they'll help you make another good decision. See, we make a lot of good decisions, but what happens is sometimes we focus on the bad decision. Why? Because it's something that we didn't get, that we wanted. And so now we beat ourselves up and ask, why didn't I get that? I made a bad decision. No, you've made far more good decisions than you've made bad decisions in your life. But we don't search for them. Then I do my meme today was Mercy's Law. Mercy and mercy, because see, everybody can say, oh, Murphy's Law. Whatever can go wrong will go wrong. And see, we get that the headline. How about Mercy's Law? Whatever can go right will go right. See, look for the blessings. You got the first blessing already. You woke up. Do you really think that's a blessing? See, sometimes we say it and then we don't believe it, but it's a huge blessing. So now start looking for some other blessings in your life, because you didn't have anything to do with that waking up situation. You actually went to sleep hoping that you would wake up. Okay, so that was a blessing that you were looking for. Okay, you got it. Now don't give up on the other blessings that you actually have nothing to do with. Okay, so look for those blessings. So that's why it's important to choose your messengers carefully, because who you choose as your messenger is going to walk you into the truth that's going to set you free. So you need the facts. In other words, you need the facts for you to be able to be free. So, and for us to go forward. And so now that's what I'm saying in terms of going forward to using risk. See, the second letter in free is risk. R-I-S-K. Recognition is success's key. Recognition is success's key. See, when you recognize who you are, you take a chance. And here's why. As a definition, as a noun, risk is a situation involving exposure to danger. Have you ever applied? What chances have you taken to expose yourself or others to danger? Haven't we done that? And as a verb, it's to expose someone or something valued to danger, harm, or worse, or loss, okay? But that's what we got to do, is don't focus on those things that you did, those risks that you took to expose someone to danger, including yourself, because what? That's who you were. That's who you were at that time. We have to forgive ourselves, which is not one of the 5 F's, but it's worthy of it. We have to forgive ourselves to set ourselves free so that we can go forward. We've taken a lot of risks in our lives, ladies and gentlemen. And sometimes, it's just like they say, there's no little sin and big sin. it's similar to risk because there's small risk and big risk, true. But sometimes the small risks we take are huge. And because wisdom so often is in retrospect. So I say risk is RISK. Recognition is success is key. Once you recognize and appreciate who you are, it seems like it's somebody else's job to stop you from getting there. And that's why you take a risk when you decide to be yourself. Be yourself. It's the biggest risk that you can take. And so take that chance on you. And that's what we find that a lot of people keep a low profile or hide their gifts based on the fact that they don't want to take the risk on being who you are. Let's see what we got in the chat on that. All right. Okay. Hey, what's up, Galen? Oh, Chicago in the house. Good to see you, Deborah. Oh, I'll put them shout outs up there. Deborah's back. That's in New York all the way back. And then TGIT. Thank God it's today. See, there's a memory from our last message, TGIF. So many people say, thank God it's Friday, but thank God it's today. And doesn't that also correspond? And I'm pretty sure that's when he put it up there, when I said how we have to look back at the things that we did, the risks that we took that put ourselves in danger, and we made it. See, so are you giving yourself credit and the blessing of having woken up today and looking for the other blessings? This is the day that the Lord has made. Have you slowed down and given yourself credit so that you can get where you need to go? What's up, Vic? Vic made it good. There's another family. Vic Haas and Roger Carroll will keep you advised. Okay. Hey, what's up, Zach? There's my sisters in the house. Okay, and I didn't say my spiritual sister. That's my my maternal sister. And it's so, and the reason I mention that is because we are brothers and sisters. And sometimes we'll say brother and sisters, and that could be a risk. See, I don't lose the topic. It can be a risk who you associate with. Someone that may not be your maternal brother or sister, but you call them your brother or sister. It's a risk. It takes a chance of being who you are. Okay. So Vix is on there talking to Roger. Vix talking to Zach because we all grew up together. So, recognize that, recognition is success is key. Take that chance on being yourself. But more importantly, don't forget to forgive yourself for the risks that you've taken, because we've all made some crazy mistakes. I'm not going to even put them as dumb mistakes. I'm going to call them crazy and give us some leeway. All right, give us some leeway and just call them crazy mistakes. And you know what? We'll see that the children of today are going to make some of those same mistakes. They are. You can't save them. If you're a parent, whether maternal or not, you cannot save the kids from making the mistakes, from taking the risks. And the funny thing is, sometimes what we have to realize is that we are the reason they take the risks. Why? Because the bar has been set. And what's usually the goal is for someone to go above the bar. And so that's, so that's not a bad thing. You see it, and give me that visual right there in the Olympics, the balance bar, it gets higher and then someone has to try to jump over it. It's the same in life. When I was in Chicago, I used to speak at the Department on Aging with senior citizens, five a month, 5 different centers. And I once said to them, I said, you're the reason the kids of today are the way they are. And they said, whoa, why? Why do you say that? I said, because you prayed. You prayed that things would be different. This is what different looks like. See, and that's what we have to recognize. This technology, the kids didn't invent the technology. They improved upon the technology that we invented. And why did we invent it? For a shortcut. We didn't want to get up to go turn the channel on the TV, so we invented the remote. We didn't want to have to wait till we get home to have that conversation, so we invented the mobile phone and the car phone. First, the big mobile walkie-talkie went in the car phone, then the flip phone, now the cell phone, now the smartphone. All of these things were the bar being set high, and then someone going above the bar, and that's what we do. So it's okay, and that's why we have to continually find ways to forgive ourselves and recognize that we set the pace, and someone is choosing us as their messenger and using that for them to go forward. Who knows? Because they're confident in doing that, one of them may come up with the cure to COVID. One of them will come up with the cure to hunger and poverty. See, that's what we have to keep recognizing, that we are a part of the solution. We're not a part of the problem. You can be, but we're deciding that we're part of the solution, because all things work to the better of God, right? So if everything works to the good of God, then we are a part of the solution. Now, again, there's that mercy's law part, okay? So let me see what we got. Learning opportunities. I think that becomes the key. They're learning opportunities and teachable moments. Because once we do something that someone else classifies as wrong, we learn a lesson depending on the outcome. Remember, wisdom is in retrospect. So what lesson did you get from the action that you can make, the risk that you took, that you can now say, I see what I could have done better. I see where I should see. And we have those conversations. Have the conversation and recognizes that you are giving yourself a teachable moment, a learning opportunity. One of my favorite acronyms is when I talk about change, how many people don't consider themselves masters of change, but they like a good challenge. And then I show them how challenge is just change with an LLE in the middle. And the LLE is life's learning experiences. So when Roger Carroll talks about learning opportunities, that's what happens. When we take up on a challenge and we take on a risk, we're going to have a chance to learn something from it, and we may do it a different way the next time. And that becomes the key, is to making sure that we do learn something, because everything is a teachable moment. So will you slow down and teach, as well as will you slow down and get the message? Because that first F, if we go back to my 5 F's, is focus. And focus is FOCUS. Finding ourselves creates unlimited success. Focus on you and let other people come into focus. What I'm saying there is you have to take care of you first. Not your sister, your brother, your husband, your wife, your kids, your grandmother. You have to take care of you first. Now, I'm not saying to ignore the people in your life that you love. I'm saying you can take care of them better by taking care of you. See, once you take care of you, you take care of yourself physically, mentally, spiritually. If you take care of yourself physically, you can lift that person that you love when they fall. If you take care of yourself mentally, you can help that person when they have a problem and they need to talk it out. And when you take care of yourself spiritually, you can help that person who's going through some grief and they need your advice, which is similar to the mental, but it's definitely more spiritual because they have to overcome something. See, so take care of you. So there's the duality in that, is take care of you, because you can't help someone until you help yourself. But the flip chart of that is you can't help anyone who doesn't want your help. So that takes us right back to what I was saying about how important it is to recognize that, what was I saying? Oh, the teachable moment, to make sure that you are teachable when it's time for you to get a lesson. And that goes back to doing what? Choosing your messages carefully. And that's the facts. Again, see, nothing is disconnected. What we have to do is have the patience to let things connect. You know how I always say that life is about going from one puzzle to the next. Either small, medium, or large piece of every puzzle in your business, family, or social life. So what you have to do is recognize that you are the nucleus of your puzzle. What does the nucleus have to do? The nucleus has to practice patience, because you don't start your puzzle in the middle. You start your puzzle by creating the boundaries, and it works toward the completion of the puzzle. Sometimes you get a chunk in there that can work out, but mostly you're working in. So as the nucleus of your puzzle, you have to work and let those parts come to you. You have to be patient so that you can become the full picture of who you are. See how we haven't lost our topic of risk? Recognition is success is key. What you got there is that real talk. And I think I'll do real as an acronym on another one. I might have one for it, but I'll have to think about it. But real, recognize that everyone accepts the Lord, even though they don't. There are some people who are non-believers, but recognize that everyone accepts the Lord. And I think that that's what makes us a real person in terms of our faith. The joke is that even atheists believe in God because they're working to say that there is no God. And thank you, Galen. Yes, say self first. Take care of yourself first. Again, not in selfish as in pushing people away, but selfish as in bringing people close to you. Don't we look for someone who's got it together? When you're looking for help, aren't you looking for someone who's not broken, someone who has been through something before, so you know that they've established some type of wholeness, and that's what you're going to be looking for. So it really that again becomes why it's important to control our vocabulary and recognize that when you put things in context, they will work for you. You have to listen. The number one communication skill. You have to listen if you are going to accept help, and then you almost don't you say that to somebody who you want to help? You have to listen. See, so it goes both ways, but it's the number one communication skill. It's mandatory to take care of yourself. Yes, thank you for echoing that because we can't hear it enough. The thing is, we say it and then we get caught up into that situation and we don't do it. Y'all, you got to do it. You got to take care of yourself. Wow, you mean so much to so many of us, but you cannot have that value in you that we need unless you take care of yourself. We need you to take care of you. And then once you take care of me, I know that I'm getting the help from the right source. How much more of an asset or resource to you will you be to others when you know how valuable you are? And so let's move on because recognizing that risk is about having the courage to be who you are. Have the courage to be who you are and then share who you are now. And that's what I mean about forgiving yourself. Okay, you did that. You made that mistake. Good. But who are you now? That may have been who you had to be based on your beliefs. Forgive yourself. We need you now. And we're glad that you got that lesson so that you can establish who you are now and see how you can help us work things out. And so that's why I move on to my other letters in free. And the first one is the E is excellence. Excellence is what is going to free you. You see, a lot of people say, the cliche is practice makes perfect. I say practice makes excellence because excellence should be the goal, or practice makes purpose. Excellence should be the goal. You're not going to, we'll say practice makes perfect, and then the next sentence we'll say, but nobody's perfect. It's a non-attainable goal. I believe that perfection's goal is to fail and then seek someone else's approval. Because we'll say, I practiced and I didn't make it all the way, but look, I made it this far. So we're seeking someone else's approval for what we didn't attain. How about making this far the actual goal? And so that you can be satisfied with what you've done for today, because tomorrow is another day. And see, no company is in business for one day. There's always another need. And so you're the company, you're your company. So let excellence be your goal because number one, excellence is attainable and it's replicable. Once you reach excellence, you can do it again. Perfection, you can't repeat and you can't do it again. So make excellence your goal. One of Vic's favorite words, I've seen that on more posts that I've done, and then he'll put excellent. So guess what? Excellence is a great goal and you can have it yourself. And being your authentic self. Being your authentic self. And what does that mean? Oh, you'd think Roger Carroll had a spoiler alert because I'm going to share a poem today that talks right about that, about being your authentic self. So let's roll on and set ourselves and walk right into that poem. Because then the second E in free is empathy. Empathy, you've always heard me say, I've never walked in your shoes. I'll never say, look, I've been in your shoes before. I have not walked in your shoes, but I've sat in your row because we're all going through something. And that's what empathy is. And it's important for us to know the difference between empathy and sympathy. Sympathy is feeling sorry for someone. Empathy is understanding someone. And yes, you can understand feeling sorry. Don't hash eggs with me. But make sure that it's the empathy so that you can feel and so that you can understand what someone's going through, so that you can come up with a better solution for them. And this is what I'm also talking about in terms of that puzzle. See, when we're working on recognize that we're a puzzle piece and we're a small, medium, or large piece of the puzzle, depending on the puzzle. And so, maybe you're the parent in your house, so you're the large piece of the puzzle. And if you're the child, you're the small piece of the puzzle. And then as years go by, the roles reverse and you become the parent who needs the child to take care of you. And so you drop down to a medium or smaller piece while the child becomes the medium or the larger piece. That's just the way it really goes. So it's really about us having that empathy and recognizing that all of us have been through something. Back to Roger Carroll's what? Learning experience, teachable moments. Okay. So extra, I'm going to go put that up there because that's Vic's word. Excellent. Yeah, that's his word. All right. So empathy is important, and recognizing that we have to know um, who we are. And so you have to take that risk. If you don't know who you are, how can you be empathetic with someone? How can you feel their pain and want to help them if you don't know who you are and what you have to give? Risk. Recognition is success is key. So recognize that freedom, and that was why I say risk is right in the middle of freedom. Freedom is the patience it takes to be your piece of the puzzle. And that's why the poem I want to close with is one of the first poems I wrote. I wrote this poem and it's called Don't You Realize That You Don't Know Me? Before I read it, let me see what this comment is. All right. Okay, Deb. Let me see what Deb said. I like it. You may not be able to fit my shoes, but there's plenty of room in the row. And see, this becomes how we grow. Take take anything I say, take something that someone else says, and now you create the analogy for it. That's what cements the learning. When Vic talked about listening earlier, communications, because you have to listen, and then there are two options. Of the options, there are two. One is parroting, like a parrot, and there's paraphrasing. Parroting is giving the person right back the exact same words they said to you to make sure that you understood. Paraphrasing is putting it into your words to show that you understood. And that's what I like to say. Paraphrase. You don't have to quote me. Get the object, get the gist of what I was saying, the object of where I was trying to go, and put in your words. Because then I'll end up stealing this now. Okay. I can't fit in your shoes, but there's plenty of room in the row. I've never said there's room in the row. I've said we've sat in the same row. But isn't there plenty of room in the row? Isn't there plenty of room for more people going through something? Don't close it out. Don't think that you're the only one going through something. That's why there's more room in the row. Just when you think, man, 5 people are going through this, whoa, a sixth person comes and they're going through something that changes the dynamics of the room. Who's in your room? See, there's what you might want to ask yourself. Who's in your room? Who do you allow into your room? Who's in your life? Your room is your life. Again, there might be something that I'll talk about. I like that title. Who's in your room? I like that. I might have to use that, Deb. We was always partners. That's my modeling partner. Okay. So here's the poem I want to read. It's called Don't You Realize That You Don't Know Me? And I wrote this poem when I was 16 years old. I wrote to that person that gets on our nerves at some time or another in our lives. Right? I wrote it to my mother. I wrote it to my mother because why parents do what? They always say, I know you. I've raised you. I know you. I brought you into this world and I'll take you out and make another one like you. So there's plenty of people in our lives who tell us that they know us. We've got our parents. We've got our siblings, we got our friends, we have our teachers. So yeah, this poem, I wrote it to say to those people, no, you don't know me. And again, I wrote it when I was 16 years old. It's one of the cornerstone poems in my book, I Found Out I'm Dying, A Celebration of Life. And there's the commercial on that. Is so often we get caught up in the title, I found out I'm dying, and we don't look at the subtitle, A Celebration of Life. We're all dying from the day we're born, physically. Get over it. But are you celebrating life while you're here? One of the ways for you to celebrate is to know who you are. So that's why this is, don't you realize that you don't know me? How many times have I heard, I knew you'd do that. It figures you'd say that. Please don't tell me you know me because you only insult my intelligence. Don't you realize you don't know me? Have I so shallow a mind that you can pick me apart at will? Are my actions really predictable while looking through your drinking glass crystal ball? Is my voice really always monotone? Don't you realize you don't know me? Don't you realize that you only know what I let you know? And don't you realize that I could never let you know me? because I don't really know myself. Don't you realize you don't know me? Don't you know that what you knew I do, I didn't know I do, even after I did what I did, like you knew I do it? And don't you know that what you figured I'd say, I didn't figure I'd say, even if I said what I said, like you figured I'd say it? Don't you realize you don't know me? Don't you realize that you don't know me? And in slow motion, don't you know that what you knew I do, I didn't know I do? Even after I did what I did, like you knew I do it. Have you ever had that situation, right? Where, you start a sentence, someone say, I knew you were going to say that. No. Well, I knew you were going to knock that glass over, you're a jinx. Well, why didn't you move the glass? I didn't know, right? And having you had that, don't you know that what you figured I'd say, I didn't figure I'd say. Even after I said what I said, like you figured I'd say it. Haven't we said something that we regret? Wish we could pull the words back like we're in the cartoons? Sporty, clean up your room. I'm not cleaning up nothing. Oh, just kidding, Mom. Right? Yeah, see, we've all said something that we wish we could pull it back. And we talked about regret earlier and decisions we make. We have to forgive ourselves. We've said things, see, but we can't pull them back. So what we have to do is recognize that you can't presuppose what somebody else is going to say either. Don't you know that you just have to know yourself? Because that becomes the key. Now that you know who you are you willing to take the risk on being who you are? Because that's really what it's all about. So I wrote that when I was 16 and I still use it today because it's always a good memory for us to continue to learn about who we are. We change every day. I once had made a motivational saying that if I wake up the same person I was yesterday, perhaps I never went to sleep. Every day you wake up, you're a new person and a chance to make a new impact on the world. Okay? So make sure that you know who you are, because if you don't know who you are, you won't take the risk of sharing who you are, and someone else needs you to take that risk. And that's the freedom part of it. Freedom is the patience it takes to be your piece of the puzzle, and it's worth the risk. Okay? So take that risk, be your piece of the puzzle, and see that we all need you to be who you are so that you can make that difference. Deb, sometimes I'm shocked that I said it. Okay, now I missed that word. The word excellence, or are you shocked that you said what? Or the things that we've said to people? Okay, so see, I missed that one in real time. So Deb, yeah, y'all must have seen that when it happened, but great. So we could, put, like I said, put a pin in that. But yeah, these are things there are a lot of things that we say on automatic pilot, just because we've heard them from our first messengers, our parents in most cases. And then secondly, from the people who are the closest to us. So make sure that you are willing to take that risk of being who you are so that you can set yourself free. Okay, what you say? Oh, the things that you were said. Okay, the things that were said. Great, thank you. I thought that's where you were going. Okay, I thought that's where you were. Just want to clarify it. Cool in the gang. All right. So as we close out today's session, I just want to let you know that the poem is available, and the poem and the book is available at my website, sportyking.com. And the book is I Found Out I'm Dying, A Celebration of Life. If you'd like a copy of the poem, shoot me an email at sportyking.com, and I'll send you a copy of that poem, a PDF copy, a nice colorful one with my electronic signature as well, so you can enjoy that. And that goes not just for those on the live broadcast, that goes for you who are watching the broadcast tape later as well. So make sure that you get that done and start your collection of Sporty's poetry. sportyking.com. Once you go there, you can also find different sessions that I do so that you can refer me into the speaking business, because I've updated so where I'm good at virtual, as you can see, as we've been doing in the chat. Thank you, Galen. Appreciate that as well. And the poem was excellent. See, there goes excellent again. Thank you, Deb. All right. So, let's share one another's gift. And what I want to close with is just to remind you, www.powerthepolls.org. Right now with COVID, the normal definition of the people who work the polls are people 60 plus, 50 plus for sure. Okay, and so now some of them will not be working the polls based on the COVID exposure. So we're gonna have a forecasted shortage of poll workers. Fewer poll workers, fewer polls opening. So, encourage somebody, the younger generation, get that site to them. It'll explain everything they need to know, how much they get paid depending on where they live, because it is a paid day. All right. Okay. And then, and one of the things I know, I'll be working the polls in Charlotte. And one of the things they instantly sent us is they said to make sure you vote early so that you are not, so you don't have to worry about voting on the day of. So there's another side effect of it, and I encourage everybody to vote early as well. And so thank you, Haas, for that. I think there's a good closing comment for us. It's a fantastic message, and it's a message that we need to hear over and over again because we learn through repetition. So let's continue to share the message with one another and make that difference that we all have to make. So, yep, peace out, Vic, to you and everybody else. I love y'all. Stay safe and be careful. Over and out. Ciao.